All right, let's see. Why don't I start with announcements? I'll start with um, we're all set for May 27th at High Tide Games. I confirmed with Rebecca there that that's a good night, so we're all good.
Is that a Thursday?
It is a Thursday, yes, from 7 to 9. That way we can start getting back on back into the habit of seeing each other face to face again.
Hey.
Tim, question pertaining to that. Will she need any assistance for setup, or is there enough tables and chairs there for everybody?
There should be plenty.
Okay.
Yeah, we may have to walk in, and if we don't want them arranged the way they are, we can just move them around real quick. We'll just, then when we're done, we just put them back where they were.
Yeah, the
27th
folding
is a
tables, it's
Thursday.
easy.
Yep.
So they are folding tables. So just, guys, heads up, it's not like that big wooden heavy conference room table. So if you're hitting the table or bumping it, you're going to be potentially knocking models around. We just got to be sensitive to that.
Well, to that point, Vince, one of the things that we might want to consider is doing similar to what we did the other night at there at Leonard's Grant, where the models were on their own tables, and you just walked over and just kind of talked about yours and pointed at it, instead of us, having it sit right there in front of our table. That way, if you want to, frankly, if you want to, bring some food and that kind of stuff until she gets her restaurant business started. But she said once her restaurant business is up, then she becomes liable for food poisoning and everything else. So you can't bring food in externally. And of course, she doesn't want us competing with her sales.
Hey, what day of the week is the 27th?
It's a Thursday.
Okay.
So that's the fourth Thursday of the month, correct?
It is because truth be told, my schedule is screwed up, and my third Thursday was not available.
Gotcha.
It's good to be the king.
What's that?
It's good to be the king.
Good to be the king. Yeah,
Good to be the king.
Don't get
So-
saucy with me, Bernays.
Yeah. So, but for June, I've got it back to third Thursday, June and subsequent. And I did give her a heads up that June is when we do carrier landings because it's anniversary. So if Vince, you don't mind having the carrier deck ready, I'll see if I can't make sure my Buccaneer is ready, and
The
we'll
deck
have at
is
least one
ready.
plane there.
Come on,
Imagine
Whitey,
the
you
deck
gotta
ready.
defend the title, Whitey. You got the trophy.
Imagine the kind of attention we'll get there.
I don't have it anymore. Remember someone else won it after me.
The trophy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Benny won it.
Benny won it.
Yeah,
Well,
Benny's
Benny
got
has
it
to
with
be
his
there to defend
28.
it then.
What's
Well,
the shop again?
In June, when we do the carrier landings, there may be customers in there who want to play, and they may join the club just because we're goofy.
Well, I told her, I said, we have a lot of fun with it. And she jumped all over it. She goes, hey, do you mind if I, put that on our Facebook page and website? And I said, sure, but let me at least clean up our website so I can give her that hot link and she can include that too, so that folks can go there. Cause I believe you can go there and just, there's an email follow kind of thing. And in theory, I get an announcement saying that somebody's following it, and I can add them to my email list for other announcements.
If you're doing that with her, Tim, I'll pull the deck out and take a couple pictures of it and share it with you so she can put it on her website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Frankly, I'll put it on ours too.
Tim, what's the name of the shop?
High Tide Games.
High Tide.
It's right next to Home Goods, which is right next to Mission Barbecue.
Yeah, what I'll do is, my plan was this weekend to send out the invite like I used to do for third Thursdays. Send it out as an email that just says, hey, here's a friendly reminder, yada yada yada, and then do another one, on that Thursday, and say, just in case you forgot, here's where we're going to be. That way the folks can kind of hold it off on their calendars because some folks are going to have to do a little bit of driving, right, Jim?
Yep.
And the guys that are coming from up north, like Justin and Jonathan.
Yep.
David. But yeah, if you remember, Jim, where the Shoppers was in that shopping center, that closed. It's now a McKay's. But between what used to be Shoppers and the Home Goods, and there's a gym in there, and then Mission Barbecue. There's in between all that is like a Kim's Nails, and next to that is High Tide Games.
Yeah, I know roughly where it is. I just wanted to get the address in my calendar.
Yeah, I'll send you the address, Jim.
I'm good. I've got it.
Oh, you got it? All right. All right, let's see. I don't think I've got any other announcements, so I'm going to throw it out to the group. Anybody got any announcements they want to make?
Firehouse Hobbies driveway sale. That's going on the Saturday, May 15th, 9 to 1 p.m.
Yes, it is.
Got it on my calendar. I'm going, no doubt.
Don't bother, Dan. I'll get there before you.
I'm getting there
for a rider,
Vince?
We better get all the good stuff.
What's
Anything
the address
different? I'll
again?
check.
I know I've seen the address, but if you could spit it out, I'll write it down here.
11802. Wait a minute. No, I'm gonna give you the wrong address, so you don't get the same crap. You don't get a good stuff. You already got a stash. What models do you need?
I don't know, but I'll
You
figure it
gotta
out.
hold a firehouse sale.
Yeah.
So tell Jeff the address and then give everybody else Jeff's address.
That's right. That'll thin the herd.
Go to Jeff's house while he's
That'll-
gone.
That'll thin the herd. So 11802, then what?
North Marlton Avenue.
How the hell do you spell that?
MAR.
Good. MARLTON Avenue. Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Gotcha. Thanks.
And what day is that, Dan? One more time?
Saturday, May 15th.
That's quite literally somebody's house, right?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
What it look like. That's gonna be, his neighbors are gonna hate him.
And it's right off of the 301. So it's like, bam, it's right there. It's like 2 blocks away from it. So yeah, you're right. The neighbors are going to be pissed.
Just park on 301.
The cops will be pissed.
That's if you survive.
Look both ways before you cross, folks.
You can't make everybody happy.
That's all I have. Tim? It's you.
All right. Anybody else? No? Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna start talk about your models, and Jeff, you get to start.
Okay, well, some of you saw me working on my DC9s, MD80s. So I've got them nearly ready to paint. I'm gonna paint them separately. The fuselage will be painted separately from the wings because the fit is really good. So rather than trying to mask off between the white and the fuselages, I'll just paint them separately. And one color scheme, I don't know if that's shown up, Alaska Airlines on one of them. And the other one will be out of the box Midwest Express. So I was working on those last Saturday, worked on them a little more, they're nearly ready. Then I started working on the Spitfire that's not going to be British. I was about ready to paint it, and then all the putty, just a slight bit of pressure, there was too much of a gap and it cracked. So I redid it with the super glue, and I've just about got it finished, rescribed. I got to polish it up, and then I'll go ahead and repaint or paint that in the primer, and then start getting it ready for the final colors, which are going to be probably this. Came in the box from Doug's. It's even got the sticker on there, but that's probably my non-British Spitfire. So there we go. That's it for me.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Now with those non-British Spitfires, they had all the same gear in them when they gave them to the Russians. did they have the same power plants and the same amount of torque horsepower, or were they?
No, they're in a Lend-Lease, yeah.
Yeah, it was exactly the same.
The
Okay.
Russians didn't like them as much as they like P-39s for whatever reason. But, anyway,
Well, the Russians wanted firepower. They didn't want, they wanted armament, not necessarily maneuverability.
Brute force, not finesse.
Yep.
yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. And let's see. In my case, I don't have an update, so I'm going to skip me. Dan, you're up.
Got it. I'm off mute. I'm ready for you, Tim. Okay. Well, missed out last week because I was physically and mentally upset. The Sopwith triplane met an unfortunate disaster in the garage. I left it hanging up saying that, yeah, it's ready to go. Painted it, put clear on it, letting it clear dry, and walk in the next morning. It's on the garage floor in pieces. So
Is that the one you
Oops.
just brought to the last meeting up at Leonard's Grant?
yeah. So I said, F it. Now I'm watching one on eBay. That's a 1995 casting, and they've got a 2002 casting that was made by Edward. So I'm watching that one on eBay. It's a little cheaper than what I bought this one for. So hopefully I can snipe the guy and get it for cheap. So I started working the got Tamiya kit going, the M10 tank destroyer. I'm thinking about doing a Pacific Theater for this one since everybody does the European one and just started. Nothing fancy about it, right out of the box. But everything with Tamiya kits, as you guys know, sprinkle some glue in the damn box, cut the things off the sprues, and lo and behold, you got a tank, which is very nice in comparison to this Edward, that piece of crap that it is. So since I'm doing the armor, like some of you guys have 2-3 builds going on at the same time, I am getting back into World War I again and trying to get these started. Now, one has missing parts, but the other one has got the full kit and caboodle on it. So I may be doing that's up to you guys to let me know. In comparison to the Hasegawa Monogram SE5A, in comparison to the Roden, which of the two is the better kit to build?
Roden.
Really?
I personally have never
The
seen
monogram
Roden, but
one
it's
is
it
the
lo-
ancient Aurora kit from back in the early 60s, late 50s.
Okay. So it's basically crap.
well,
No, it's
I
just
wouldn't
not
say
nearly
basically
as
crap.
detailed or finessed as the Roden one is.
Okay. Go ahead, Vince. You had something else?
Yeah, I was gonna say that monogram kit wasn't an original Aurora mold, and frankly, they're not bad. They're just old. And the Roden kit, even though a lot of their claim to fame has to do more with some limited edition stuff, those are updated molds, and Roden actually produces some pretty nice models. So there will be probably a little more detail in that Roden kit than there is in that monogram kit, just because there's about 52 years difference in the moldings.
52 years. Holy crap. All right, then that answered that question. That's all I have. Tim.
Now, the monogram one definitely worth building for a palette for markings, but
Oh.
if you're looking for some of the detail,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The decal sheet. I had to correct myself.
Beep.
Edit.
That bad, huh?
No, it's pretty good.
No.
The colors are
Talking about what you
outstanding.
said
In
first.
comparison, the Roden kit doesn't have decals like this or decals. So I'm like, I'll just probably use the spare parts out of this to build the other one and be good to go. So thank you very much for that info. On to the next modeler, please.
So during the course of Dan Yeckel's presentation, we watched 3 colonizations and got 1 lesson in scat by accident.
There you go. All right, Jonathan, you're up.
I didn't break anything. So I finished the Dornier, and now I'm going back another to me. I've got the 72 Corsair going. It's in primer now. I'm doing this different. I shot silver on it, and I am putting liquid mask on where I'm going to have chipping. And then I'm going to pre-shade and paint and then pull it all off, and hopefully it'll chip down to the silver. I've not done it like that before, but I'm just giving it a try. So I've sat here with a little sharpened piece of balsa wood, just trying to put tiny little flecks of and you can't see it. You can, well, I don't know. I can see it because I know where it is, but it's all the things that look off color.
Just as
Don't
long as
chip the
it's not on
fabric.
the,
Anyway,
yeah, not on the fabric parts of the wing.
no. Just the panels, not out on the outer panel, right, Vince? Where the gun bay's open and where they walked on the inside. So anyway, that's about it.
Jonathan, you can use the hairspray technique.
No, all I'm doing is putting liquid mask on, letting it dry,
Okay.
Right.
painting over it, and then I'm gonna take just my thumb or an eraser or something and come back at the very end and hit those spots, and hopefully it's gonna pull right off down to the silver.
It
We'll
should.
find out.
Yeah, it's gonna look nice. I bet you get luck with that.
Which liquid mask are you using, if you don't mind me asking?
It's the stuff that Colin told us about a while ago. Hold on.
Oh, excellent. Got it.
And I just literally have sharpened a little tiny piece of balsa wood to a point, and because I'm trying to do it so it stays relatively, like chips for 172 scale, not 48. So it's small pieces, small areas, and trying to keep it random. And
Hey, Jonathan, what does that stuff smell like?
now you're going to give me sniffing glue on the thing.
I think he's going, is it the typical ammonia smell with a lot of masks?
Yeah, it's pretty much an ammonia smell.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
what-
that usually means that it'll attack acrylics.
Well, it
But
hasn't yet.
it's good with enamels and lacquers.
I know it gets on your hands easy when somebody asks you what it smells like.
Sorry about that.
Hey, it didn't attack my skin. So,
Tim, just stick with this for your acrylics.
Yeah, that's what I use.
where'd Vince go? I
I'm
can't.
always looking for other ones.
What has Vince got?
This
The
is
old
the
micro-
Micro mask.
Oh,
Micro
yeah, I
stuff.
just don't have any micro mask. That's
Blue
all.
stuff, micro mask.
That will be a problem when you don't have it.
So that works good for acrylics, huh, Vince?
Yeah, that stuff is really, it doesn't have that ammonia smell, and it doesn't attack acrylic paints at all.
Yeah, that's what I end up using.
I heard one time we can use non-flavored toothpaste. In other words, just regular Crest with no flavoring in it. Just put that on the model, spray over it. So when you start chipping away, it's the same effect.
Minty fresh.
Something like
For
that.
Minty fresh
those-
bottles.
For
On one of
those
mine, I
of you-
use salt.
For those of you that paint with acrylics on your exterior finishes, this stuff is actually pretty good too. It's by the Mr. line. This is Mr. Hobby, and they make this liquid mask. That stuff it hasn't attacked acrylics. I've used it on.
Mhm.
Yeah, that stuff's like the best right there. The Mr. Hobby. That works really good.
Anyway, that's all for me.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
All
So
right.
we'll see how it comes out.
All right.
It looks good so far, Jonathan. That
Look-
masking material you bought comes from like a craft store though, right? Like a Hobby
Yeah.
Lobby or a Michael's.
I got it off the internet. Colin gave us some link or something one time, and I just grabbed a bottle of it.
Oh, okay.
Um, the worst case scenario is it craps it all down, and I just shoot the blue over top of all the stuff that doesn't work out, and it's blue again. So
That's
I just don't have much luck with pencils and trying to get on 72 scale. It's so tiny. trying to get the chips. I mean, I don't want chips that are 4 feet on the side. Anyway, back to you, Tim.
All right. Paul, you're up.
Hey, everyone. Good evening. One of the builds I got going on is a race car, a 1988 Indy car, and all is not good. So, so my idea was the top assembles to the bottom floor. So my idea was to paint the top, paint the bottom, and you kind of got a lot going on there. You got the suspension you got to deal with, the cockpit, the fuel cell there in the back, the chassis there, or the floor there. So you can see what happened. I tried to glue the two halves together, and super glue was having none of it. It just wouldn't bond. And I've always struggled with gluing painted parts together. Now, obviously, looking back on it, I should have just kept the parts in its plastic and with some extra thin around there, and then did all my painting. And I kind of thought about that in the beginning, but again, there's so much going on here. It'd be like kind of a masking nightmare. The mirrors, the front suspension, all that would have to be masked off, the cockpit. So obviously that was the way to go. So I sanded it all to make a smooth or a paint-free join. I used the Tamiya cement in the orange cap, which someone recommended to use for this application. And it went on fine, but because of the glue and the big mess, I had gaps in there, which I came in and filled in with some putty. Then I'm starting to sand it all kind of smooth down, the upper and lower half there. So I guess what I'm going to do now is either prime it and then shoot the red paint over these areas. Hopefully that turns out okay. So, stay tuned, as they say. But yeah, we hit a little problem. So hopefully, we'll get around this little issue. And I think I will. I think it's going to be okay, but I always worry about shooting the red, and now the reds might look different. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, we get a little problem there. However, there is a little bit of exciting news. The other build is a Spitfire, and that just got completed about an hour or so ago. Some of the parts are drying, some of the little last minute parts like canopies and pitot tubes and stuff like that. So I went in the stash closet and I picked out a new model I'm going to start probably this weekend. And it's probably going to be my most ambitious as far as parts count. And this is going to be my first Hasegawa kit. It's the Strike Eagle. So we're going to give this a try. A lot of plastic in this box. It's a pretty big box here. And I just literally took it out of the plastic maybe a half an hour before the meeting or so. And only thing I've done is what I usually do, just kind of get a game plan for the instructions. And something I always like to do is I always like to circle the parts because I always get confused about color call outs and parts. And I got to say, I like their instructions. Much like Tamiya instructions, it's not a whole lot going on. It's a little bit of input of information per assembly. Like that, obviously there's the cockpit. So you know what I mean? They're not blasting with a bunch of information, step one and the following steps. So yeah, looking forward to starting this thing. It's always fun when you start a new one, right? You complete one and you move on to the next one. So yeah, we'll certainly keep you posted on how this comes along. And of course, you'll be seeing a lot of it in the next upcoming months. So yeah, a disaster and then something exciting, starting a new one. That's all I got.
Paul, I got some gouge for you for the F-15.
Oh yeah.
Those kits go together really nice. There's a couple tricks though to make it a little easier for you.
I'm all ears.
Let me see. I'll pull your email address or I'll get your email address off of the off the mass email, I guess, and shoot you an article I did for the Canadian IPMS guys about the Hasegawa F-15. There's just some some little tricks to making the forward, you've probably seen how the aft and the forward fuselage sections are separate.
Yeah,
And to make that join a little more easy for you, there's a couple little tricks to go along with that.
okay.
Yeah. One of the
Yeah.
main things is just like not gluing the cockpit to the fuselage sides, if that makes any sense to you. If you look at the assembly, you'll see what I mean.
Down here,
Yeah.
don't do that.
See pot D29 right there, the nose landing gear? Well,
Yeah.
just glue that to the bottom of the fuselage.
Oh, this thing here.
Yes. And then, but don't worry about gluing the sides to the fuselage. What it's going to allow you to do is have some flexibility on the sides of that fuselage assembly. So when you go to join it to the main aft fuselage, it's going to allow you a little bit of play to get that seam and that join line nice and nice and joined up.
Yeah, you're laughing. That's probably not a good sign.
No, so
I'm laughing
Whitey,
'cause Frill's over here in the chat telling me to shut up. And
hey, Whitey, send that to Tim for distribution to the whole group, because I've got 2 Hasegawa F-15Cs and a F-15E myself to do. So
all right,
just
I'm
share
gonna
that.
do that.
Yeah, be a good gouge.
I mean, Jeff has like 19 of them. So
Only 4.
All right, man.
Of each version.
That's it, only 4?
Well, Hasegawa, I got a lot of Tamiya ones.
Is that it, Paul?
Yeah, and thanks a lot, Whitey. I'll be anxious to get that.
All right. It's a nice kit though. Goes together smooth.
Very cool.
All right. Phil, you're up.
Hey, everybody. All right, so don't tell anybody, but I'm actually building a couple of 1/35th scale models. So, okay, so they're mechanical robots, but they're still 1/35th scale. So long story short, about 25 years ago, I started on a model. I had some issues with getting parts for the joints, and we were about to PCS. So I just put it in a bag and let it go. And now when I go in that box of spare parts, I keep seeing it. I'm like, you know what, one of these days I'm going to sit there and finish that thing. And so I found the same model on HobbyLink Japan for $10. So I was like, okay, I'll get another one and I'll use it for parts. But the old parts were good enough. So I ended up, it's kind of a kit bash, but instead of it actually being like a kit bash, that's like taking the same kit and reusing parts of it to do different parts or to create something else. So I basically had everything but a torso. So last week in our meeting, I did a blank out of boxwood and vacuum formed it. And that's what that is. And so there's a big, there's basically a big poly cap inside of the waist. So it'll rotate and it's really sturdy. And the same thing with all the joints in there. They all have poly caps as well too. And there's a brass rod to connect them. So it's really sturdy. And the joints in the feet are the same thing. That's my cat in here.
Meow.
And he basically also has like really strong joints in there as well too. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do the shoulders and the arms. I have some really cool looking, probably like some 105mm howitzer looking things that might go on like the arms. So we'll see. But to kind of give you an idea for scale, here's a helicopter pilot, and there is the torso and the bottom part. So. But I figured I would do something kind of fun and take a break from the ship for a bit because I've been working on that for so long. But that's it for me.
So the man doesn't go in there. It's not like that suit that the guy wears in Avatar where he climbs into the cockpit and the arms react with his.
Actually, yeah, this would be like inside, but not like that you could see him. Because like for instance, in Avatar, it's really a bad design because it's all that glass, and it's just asking to be shot up and in a combat situation. So it'll actually, the top, if you could,
Bulletproof glass.
the top, if you could see in there, yeah, it'll basically be, you know, like the slats they have in armored vehicles. I actually have some pieces that will fit on the side, and I'll probably do a little something for the front. So, but I figured it'd be kind of, you know, well, about 25 years ago, I thought it'd be cool to do something to go with the tanks and, you know, be like a robot, but something more modern and more realistic than, you know, like the 100-foot high Gundams and stuff like that. So
100-foot high.
You know, one thing you can do is have your guy inside wearing one of those F-35 helmets that
The top
can
owl.
see through the machine.
oh yeah, you know, I was actually looking online for some pilots, and I didn't really find any for like 148 scale. I found some, but not for 135th. So
Yeah,
I
you're
just-
you're gonna find helo pilots. That's the only thing
Yeah.
you find.
yeah, yeah.
Did
And
you
I
try
found a
Rego?
couple of them. I even thought, you know, an Apache pilot would be cool, but didn't nothing really for those either. So I do have the good old Vietnam style pilot, and I figured I would just put a couple of doodads on his helmet and it would look probably futuristic.
There you go.
Have you checked out Reed Oak?
Who?
Reed Oak.
No.
They do exquisite figures. They're kind of expensive. I think he's out of France.
Hmm.
But they do multiple scales. I don't remember if they do 135th or not.
Yeah, they'll do 135.
Okay, I'll check them out.
They do 3D printed stuff, so they can really, you know, if they have something that's just 132, you can just make it 135 for you.
Cool. And the one thing I thought would be cool is, you know, like have one of the guys on the ground, you know, kind of show them like they're working on the mecha, and having a guy holding up an MRE saying they shot my tortellini. So
Bill, you'll get a kick out of this. My son used to play. There's a game about it. It's called Titanfall.
oh
And
yeah,
it's basic. And if you watch the video online, there's a lot of that mecha going on where there's pilots, and they all, like you said, there's no cockpit for them, but they have external cameras that give them a 3D cockpit, so to speak. They've got 3 vision panels, and it gives them pretty close to 270 degree sweep of what's going on around them. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That sounds pretty freaking cool.
cool. Thanks.
All right. If that's it, Phil.
That is.
All right.
Cool.
Joe, you're up.
All right. Well, let me switch the camera around here. Okay. First up, I'm still playing with the Luke Graf SBU. I got the fuselage put together, so it's got to sit until probably tomorrow night. JB Weld takes a long time to cure. But I do have the wing here together, the upper wing. The lower wings are together. They're not much to look at. And right now I'm seeing whether or not I want to continue playing with photo etch bomb fins, or just take a slightly later style of bomb out of the spares box and use that instead. The other things, again, sitting waiting for epoxy to dry, but I got the yellow painted on the wings and tail of the Curtis A12. I think it's an A12. It's one of the Curtis strikes. I think it's the A12, the radial engine version. The landing gear is glued and it's being cured right now, so it can go on, because it's got to be painted the same as the fuselage. And the other thing I'm playing with is the P-43 from Door Wings. There's pieces of the cockpit and the seat there. The detail painting needs to be done on it yet. There's an instrument panel, and there's the seat with the belts on it. And there's the fuselage. That's about what's got me occupied for the time being.
Hey, Joe, who makes that A12?
Checkmaster, I believe.
Checkmaster?
Yeah. I do have a request. If anybody out there has a 1/8 scale Hasegawa F6 F5 Hellcat, I'll trade you 1-for-1 that one for it.
Yeah, and Joe just died.
I think we just lost Joe.
Yeah,
So the lesson here is don't move your phone too fast.
I'm still here.
Oh, well.
Oh, the video's all locked up. There you go.
Oh, gee.
Hey, Joe, how's that loot graph kit?
Generally they fit pretty well, but it's not if you fit, you're still going to need to do some filler on it. But the well, let me wander out on the other side here. I'll go slow so you don't lose me. But the kits themselves, they build up looking really good. The one F10, the Boeing F2B, and then this one, the F3B, and the Curtis down here. They're all from Loopcraft. They're beautiful kits, and honestly, the subjects you're not going to find anywhere else unless you go to a 72nd scale vac.
Got it. Nice collection.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, they're a little on the pricey side. I think the current rate, the going for rate for them from the manufacturer is about $150. That's why I haven't got any more of them right now. I got I got them a few years ago, and they were like 122, including postage, which still not cheap, but it's not like these kits of these subjects are thick on the ground either. So
right,
that's what I've got, guys. So I will yield the rest of my time to the next person who's in line.
All right, brilliant. Vince, you're up.
Okay. So tinkering in a group build, we're doing the cinematic theme. And I decided, if you've ever seen the Star Wars offshoot Rogue One, they have that big battle on the planet and they're on beaches. And so I decided I was going to do a downed TIE fighter. And for the sand on the ground, I used this Ammo by MiG acrylic sand. And this stuff is really cool because I went and I bought a set of these painting spatulas, and I just used the long thin one to spread it all on the base and get it down. It just came out beautifully, and I left some grooves for where the TIE fighter crashed. And then last night, I have this Envirotex light. It's a clear, I think it's acrylic. I could be mistaken, but it's basically a big clear, and you mix it 2 parts, the base and then the hardener, and it's an equal 1-to-1 by volume mix. And I took I cut down sheet plastic and I put it all around the edges of the base and taped them all to it, what I thought was nice and tight. And then I mixed up the Envirotex because I wanted to pour my beach water. And my goal was to have the water, which starts down at this end. I wanted it to come up about halfway through the TIE fighter. So I slowly poured until it reached that point, and I set it down with an item under the end to try to keep all the water at that end. And in the end, I poured so much that it actually came running all up along here and all up along here. And I figured I'll kind of work with it. But this is my my crashed TIE fighter. And you can see the streaks where he augured in. And inside this thing, I scratch built, and it just looks like a black hole on the video, but I scratch built a interior in 144 scale in that. And then I'm going to have, this is the top hatch. I put some stuff inside there because I'm going to have that hatch open on top of this where the guy got out. But on the front, I chain drilled and then used a brand new number 11 blade and cut out all of the glass, because the kit comes like this, just with a solid cockpit. And I chain drilled and then I actually smashed it in as part of the crash scene. And now I'm going to take some microcrystal clear and put some of the glass back in there. And I cut down some 5,000 clear acetate to put some broken pieces of glass in there. And I'm getting ready to start on the backdrop, but because it's on this water, what I'm going to do next is I've got the MIG lake water stuff, and I'm going to mix this up and gently and thinly put some on there. And I'm going to have this over by my paint booth because I'm going to use my airbrush to blow little waves into that as it sets up, so I can go back with white afterwards and add some of the little breakers along the beach to it. But this is what I call my Rogue One modeling project, and I've got to dress up the sides and some other stuff. But last night I poured the clear acrylic for the water, and I did the sand the night before that. And just before I dropped the resin in, I dropped the TIE Fighter in for the crash scene. And what I'm going to try to do is I want to print a large backdrop that is the scene outside the building where they were going in to try to get the records and where the fight's going. And then I want to have this TIE Advanced and this TIE Fighter flying in the above it in front of that background. I'll see if I can pull that off or not. But I've been playing with Star Wars modeling, and it's been fun.
All right.
And
Disney.
What's that?
You have Disney Plus?
I do have Disney Plus.
Okay, there is a feature about how they made the Mandalorian series.
Yes.
And if you watch that, you might get some ideas about how they did that whole thing. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, okay. I've seen that as I've scrolled through on Disney Plus. I just haven't watched it yet.
There's 2 or 3 episodes of it, but it's really interesting.
And then on
Vince, the
Say
rivet
again?
counters. You know, Vince, the rivet counters are gonna say, "Well, the TIE Advance was not involved in the battle where they got the Death Star plans, so it was totally different in that fact, and it just doesn't belong there."
You're probably right, and I'll tell him to push his glasses back up on his nose and go away.
By the way,
a place where the sun don't shine sideways.
by the way, you got to make sure you post some pictures up on Tuesday next week. You know why, don't you?
No.
May the 4th.
May the
May the
4th.
4th.
Okay, May the 4th. Gotcha.
be with you.
Oh my God.
Tim just got it.
It's a real thing.
And I see it every year. You're right. It trends on Facebook. So on the side, while that Envirotex took forever to cure and the sand takes a while to dry, a friend of mine up in Canada, he has a 3D printer, and I had asked him to do something for my wife. And when he sent it to me, he filled the box with just other 3D prints that were like, "Here, Vince, these are for you." So I cleaned them up, took all the supporting struts out and stuff the other night. So I shot to me just rattle can primer. And these are all for me just going to be airbrush practice models. First one is a bust of Groot. So I primed up Groot here, and I'll start painting him shortly. And then as a fun thing, he also sent me baby Groot. So yeah, I'll paint, I am Groot. I'll paint him. And then one of my favorite characters of all time, any subject, including animated and CGI, I love Scrat from the Ice Age series. So he printed me Scrat with his great big acorn. So I'm looking forward to painting him. And the last one, right up Jim's alley, the base reads, "What you seek is seeking you." I actually have Grogu here, the baby Yoda. So I cleaned him up and primed him as well. So these are just some painting projects that I've got going on the side just for fun. And that's what I'm working on here.
All right. Thanks, Vince.
Yeah, thank you.
Victor, you're up.
Well, I got the F1 or JF 101 done. I don't know if it's visible here. Finally, pretty happy with it. Kitty Hawk kit. I decided to go back and try to do the F100 next, but unfortunately there was a trumpeter, so I decided to skip over. I have a the Hasegawa F104 kit from 20 years ago, but it basically falls together. I thought I'd get it started, and the last thing I know, I'm halfway done in about 3 hours. So I'm going to try something different. I know post shading, pre shading. I don't know if this is a thing. It probably hasn't been thought of before. I mentioned it in the past, and maybe it wasn't thought of before because it doesn't work. But if you look at a drawing when you're trying to reproduce silver, you've only got gray, white, blue, and maybe there's a little brown and green in the tree line, like the high part. And I've done paintings like this before. So I decided to see what would happen if I put that on the aircraft. So this is my first shot at it. I don't know if you can see it. This is all going to get covered. This is, I don't know what you want to call it. It's not pre-shading. It looks better from a distance. It almost looks silver from far away, but, and now I'm going to go very lightly with silver over it and see if if it pumps up the 3D effect. Now, two things are going to happen. It's three-dimensional, but the highlights are going to be 2D, so it may not work out. But if it doesn't, then I'll just go heavy and I'll cover it all up. But again, I don't know if I invented something or this has already been tried and it failed. But so that's pretty fun. This kid just amazes me. The kid's 20 years old and I haven't put any seam sealer in it. I mean, I haven't filled a seam. It fits together. It actually clicks together, and some except for everything clicked in except the fuselage had to be held together. Shocking. And the only other thing is I have one tool suggestion. I don't know if we talk about tools here or not, but I would highly recommend that purchase one of these. For finding parts, hard to find parts, especially if they're on the floor. This has found one landing light and one AOA sensor for my F-101. So highly recommend these. You let it run and forget about it and check it in the morning.
$500 Roomba in your model room. Good to go.
Yep. Well, you can get them. You can get them refurbed on eBay if you want to. But that's it for me. Over.
All right.
Hey, Victor, hold that F-101 back up. You just gave us a quick flash at that.
Oh, I'm pretty happy with it. It's different panels, different. I tried to beat it up. It's a JF. It's the Atomic Test Bird. The thing was, I got all kinds of fancy, all kinds of colorful decals for it because they were painted up really nice. And then I thought it was going to cover up all my work. So what I did was I just picked an aircraft that was just basic, just to show off all the different panels. I'm going to try to go colorful on this, but everybody has done this scheme in the F-104, and that's a little bit overdone. So I'm trying to find something else, but there's not a lot of F4 decals out, F-104 decals out there, 148 anymore. So I'm on eBay looking for older ones, but I'm gonna, if anybody's got anything they want to sell or a good source for them, I'm gonna go. This is a 104C, so natural metal, anything early 60s, late 50s.
Hey, Victor, the guy to ask is Darren, because Darren's got a thing for F-104s, so he may have some decals laying around.
Okay.
Do you have his email? If not, I'll shoot it to you.
I could probably get it off the email list. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Brent, you're up.
All right, I know it's been a while since I've been on, but the current thing I'm working on, building the C-21. I've got the old Hasegawa kit, and I got Caracal's decals, so I'm doing obviously the Air Force version. I cut the missing window out just earlier today. YD was nice enough to loan me a spare window, so I don't have to try and make one. So I'm gonna add the spare window, and I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with the engines. I know there's a difference with the thrust reversers and some other stuff. So I've just been working on the the interior. I use some of the flocking that the car model guys use to kind of emphasize the carpet you see in there. The Air Force Museum has their 3D view, inside view of the C-21. And it's kind of cool because you can actually spin around. You can see the cockpit, but you also can see the interior. So it's kind of, I can kind of see some of the details and stuff like that. One of the things I finished up, I don't think I've shown it yet, is my Lima Lima display. This is, I call it Lima Lima over Oshkosh. So obviously, I've gone to Oshkosh a lot of years. I've seen Lima Lima up there a lot. These are the mini craft kits, not bad kits. They're mini craft. They're not Tamiya or Hasegawa, but they're not bad. I had the pilots in them. I also put lights on them because anytime you see them flying in formation, they almost always have their lights on like this. Smoke is just, cotton balls. This display, you can get these from CVS and you can get them like next day. So if you find a picture that you want, they'll print it up. And this is like bamboo. It looks pretty nice. It was like $15 or something like that. So it worked out pretty nice. And the picture is actually just like held on there with magnets under the clear acrylic. So if you ever want to switch out the picture or do anything else like that, you can do that. But it turned out pretty good. I grew up outside of Chicago, where Lima Lima was based for many, many years. So they kind of hold a special place in my heart. I actually got to fly with them as part of my Young Eagle flights. My family knew one of the part owners, so we got to go up in a Lima Lima 234, which was pretty awesome. The other thing I got, my girlfriend bought me the Lego Space Shuttle. This is the new one that just came out. I know it's not technically a model, but it kind of is.
Looks like a model.
I don't know how many of you guys are Lego fans and shuttle fans, but this thing is freaking cool. It took me 4 days, probably working on it 4 or 5 hours a night. There's like 2,000 pieces. This is probably the biggest Lego thing I've built, and especially in the last 20 years. Wheels come down like that. It has the bays. You can turn the top booster and the ailerons roll. Has the spoilers for the flaps. No minifigs or anything like that because it's a goofy scale. But this thing, it's cool. And it comes with the Hubble telescope, which is a Lego toy in itself. It's a couple of 100 pieces right here, and it's got the cool shiny ones on here.
Look at him. He wants to be in the meeting.
It has the arm. You can hook the arm to the telescope, and it has this little support thing here, so it'll stay up. They come with stands, so you can display it on the stand and everything. I didn't bring them in here with me, but it's got cool little placards and stuff like that. But if you like space and maybe you have played with Legos when you were a kid or something, I'd highly recommend this. I mean, it's not inexpensive, but it's a really, really cool set. It looks pretty close to the shuttle.
I'll tell you what, Legos have come a long way, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's it's different than the stuff I had when I was a kid. I probably had the the shuttle ones when I was a kid, but this is completely different. So
yeah, if I
Brent,
it would look like a waffle.
So Brent, is that the same scale as the Saturn V?
I don't know. I don't have the Saturn V. I want it. I haven't got it. I heard it's different, but I think if you probably Google searched it, you might be able to find out. I don't know off the top of my head. I think a lot of people were complaining that maybe it wasn't, but I don't know.
Yeah, so
they would still look pretty cool next to each other, I'm sure.
yeah, because I've got the Saturn V, and I wouldn't mind having that sitting next to it.
Yeah, they got a season 2 of what's it, Lego Master Builders or something like that. It's coming up pretty soon again. So
June 1st, I heard. That's pretty much all I've got.
All right. Let's see. So Michael, you're up.
Nothing much to report this week. I'll let you guys go on, and I've enjoyed listening in. Thank you very much.
Okay, Michael. Whitey. Mute.
All right, I'm unmuted. Stand by. Yeah, okay. I finally got back and work on the S3 out of my Desert Storm builds and got it all decaled up, painted, and today Milestone got the wings on. And I swear at any second they're gonna come flying off, man.
Well, what are you swinging around?
No, it's actually a pretty solid bond here with the resin to resin, and I'd used the really thin super glue with an applicator and just floated on into the hinges. So they're pretty solid. Although transporting it from here to there, I would definitely use some supports to hold them, to keep them from bouncing around. I thought about doing the displaying them with the struts that they use, but I just don't like the look of that personally. And then myself, the way I have it displayed is as if it's in pre-flight and getting ready to go. So about the only time they would have the struts in place is when the thing's going into the hangar bay or sitting overnight, things like that. So I added a couple of slicks to the Mach 82s into the bomb bay. And that was, again, going off of what Benny and Colin, the info they gave me on these guys during the Gulf War, what they were carrying. The pylons will have a buddy pod and a traditional drop tank. Let's see. The other thing I did was the FLIR turret. I added that in there, and which it comes with the kit. It's not very detailed at all. It just kind of looks like a round thing. So I kind of flattened some surfaces, added the cameras, and also the door itself, the way that kit has you display it is not how they really open it. How they open is like a sort of like an old school garage door deal. Unlike, you know, and in the kit, it just has them kind of flapping open like a bomb bay type of thing. That's just not how they worked. So I went ahead and just cut the door, folded it, and mounted it as such.
Are you saying they were like a roll top desk, the way it goes inside?
Similar to, yeah,
Okay.
similar to that. So moving along with that, well, the only thing I have left going on with it is probably I'd like to dirty it up a little bit more with some post shading and hit it with a flat coat, and I should be done after, you know, so probably finish it up this weekend and move on to whatever I decide next. Like I said, I'm trying to keep my focus. I made a commitment to do all Desert Storm stuff for the 30th anniversary throughout the year. I got a ton of subjects in my stash, so I'm on the fence with either an A7, a Tornado, or possibly even a 72nd scale B-52G. They were used quite a bit during the Gulf War, and I have some decals for those guys. So I might roll with that. I don't know. It'll be a coin toss for sure. That's the beauty of having that stash out there to choose from. So that's all I got, man.
Whitey, got a technical question for you about the S3 and the tactical camera or the pod. Was it open during pre-flight, or was it usually closed?
I imagine just like, us P3 knuckleheads, we used to drop it down for pre-flight to get a look at it, make sure it was, make sure number one, that the lens is clean, and make sure number two, that it's gonna open and close and function for you. So for pre-flight,
gotcha.
Yeah, they could open that baby up and have a look at it, I'm sure.
Got it.
That's something that they did.
Looking sharp as usual. Thank you.
Thanks, Whitey. Steve, you're up.
All right, not a whole lot. Just a couple things I've been messing with. Yeah, last weekend found another '63 AMT Corvette. It was partial glue bomb. I'm a sucker for projects, so I picked it up and got the paint stripped off of it. Found that the chassis was missing from it, so ordered a new one on eBay and got it in yesterday. So it's moving along. Going with the, I'll be going with the mag wheels for this one. With the Goodyear polyglass tires. I was trying to use the kit tires, but yeah, these on this one and the other kit, when I try to use the stock tires, they won't stay on the rims. They try to fall off the rim.
Mhm.
But those aftermarket AMT tires work a lot better. And I've been, other than that, just been doing some work on the walls, getting ready to paint. Got the 2 pictures hung up in the back finally.
Looks good.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, hopefully the wall behind me will look a lot different next week. Other than that, that's all I have.
All right, that's good. Jim, you're up.
Okay. While you guys are working on Spitfires, I've been working on Messerschmitts. Out. So here's the Hasegawa kit, and it's going to be in a takeoff configuration. And here's the Edward kit, and it's going to be in flight. And here's the Revell kit, and it's going to be sitting on the ground. And this is the one that's going to have this area cut off and remounted with the AS configuration front fuselage. And that's pretty much it. I don't know if you can, yeah, hang on, probably won't work. Got an aftermarket cockpit for the Revell kit. And for just 1 second here. It's pretty nice. And then the Look, Edward Look instrument panel comes with seat belts that are also pretty nice. I've never been a huge fan of photo etched seat belts, but these turned out looking pretty good. Thing practically snaps together. There we go. You can see the gun sight and the seat belts in there. The flashlight here. There you can see the seat belts in it. So anyhow, that's turning out okay. And that's pretty much it. I've been working on the book more than working on the models this week. So that's pretty much it for me.
Jim,
Thanks,
on that
Jim.
last kit, are you going to show the engine compartment, or are you just going to be closed engines?
No, it's going to be closed. It's just instead of with the G, you have these big humps.
Yep.
And the GAS
was smoothed over.
Here's the whole thing in together, and it actually comes back where the front, where the part of the canopy is. It comes all the way back into that. So I'm going to have to take the little humps off of the canopy.
Oh, good Lord.
Humps right at the edge.
Were you going to take heat to it, or are you going to cut them off?
Just sand them off.
Okay.
And then, oh, hang on. Here's what the instruction sheet looks like, and you can see that the parts have to come off right there, and then the canopy goes on down here, and you can see how the part actually comes all the way back to the canopy.
Yeah, it does. I can see it right now. Holy crap.
So basically, the whole top part of the fuselage comes off. So it'll be an interesting little excursion to do that. So anyhow, they'll probably all get done pretty much at the same time if my normal technique pans out. And the other thing that I've been doing is I'm kind of a house painter. I'm not an artist like Samo is, but I figured that since the fuselage or the wings have a fairly sharp demarcation on the fuselage, it would be easier to make a mask. So I took the camouflage pattern out of the off the kit instructions and blew it up, cut it out, and then painted the canopy or the wing mask. So that part's done, and I think I'm also going to do a lot of the fuselage painting before I put the wings on, and then I'll just have the fuselage wing joint to clean up. And on all of these kits, that's a pretty clean seam, so it should go on pretty easily, and that way I can paint it and really get in close to it without having to mess with the wing getting in the way. So I'm going to try it. Either work or it won't. Next.
All right. Frill, you're up.
All right. What's up, everybody? Well, as everybody saw, the I guess hell froze over and the tracker is done. So after 3 long years, it is finally off the bench and sitting over there. And I temporarily attached it to that base because I wanted something a little more secure. So I went today, and when I did it, the left nose wheel, I didn't put on very well. I just tacked it on because that was the one that I had the hole drilled in to figure out how I was going to mount it to the base. And I got some of those very tiny earth magnets from Darren, and I was able to widen the hole in the nose wheel that I put, and I was able to put an earth magnet in there, and it fit nice and flush with the wheel, the flat spot. And when I put it on its base, I'm going to countersink another hole and put another magnet in there and have it attached via the magnet, so I can take it off if I need to and have it not sitting with a pin sticking out of the nose wheel. And it's another one of our builds for Tamiya, the one of the kits they sent us. I got the 35th scale kitten craft rad thing, I think is what it's called. And I just finished painting it today. I got the base colors on, so I'll go back in and fade it up a little bit, dirty it, and I just put a wash on it not too long ago. So other than that, that's it.
Will do. Anything else? No. Well, I guess that'll be the end of tonight's get together. Try and do this again next week.
All right, Jess.
All right. Good night.
See ya.
Have a good evening.
Have a good one.
All right.
Out of the announcements tonight, the 2 of them were May 15th is the sidewalk sale with Firehouse Hobbies on May 15th. And May 27th is our meeting at High Tide Games, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, good to go. Now I have to go find a pen and jot those down before I forget. Thanks.
Emails to follow.
Oh, even better. Cool.
All right.
Unless my server keeps rejecting your email.
Hey, it didn't this time.
Yeah, cool.
We're trying to get rid of you, Vince.
Yeah, I know. It happens. Take it easy, guys.
All right.